Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all will be fine and doing great and enjoying your good lives. So, welcome to my YouTube channel. So, finally we are going to start our course that I announced before, that we are just going to start the English course series, for medical billing and coding. So this is the introduction to medical billing. We are just going to start our first lecture today. So we will be just continuing this course, like we will be having 20 lectures in this course. Okay, so these completely will be in English language, because there were a few viewers who were just saying that, sir, can you please upload a English course series in complete English, because they were having a hard time in understanding the Hindi or Urdu language. So that's why I just decided to cover all these lectures, all these 20 basic lectures and fundamental lectures in English completely. So this is a lecture number 1. So we will just understand like what is medical billing. We are just going to have an introduction to medical billing today. We will see that how and what are the different departments in medical billing and how we can just interpret all that kind of a stuff. Okay, so what are the different like domains of medical billing? Okay, and we will understand the revenue cycle management as well. Okay, with the progress and with the passage of time, we will be just continuing these lectures. I am just trying to upload at least one lecture in a week. So best of luck to all of you. If you guys feel any kind of questions or concerns regarding this course series, okay, you guys have any questions, you guys can just comment on these ones. So this is the best opportunity for all of you who are residing in Pakistan, India, Philippines, or USA as well. Okay, so let's start this one. So we will be completely going to understand all these kind of steps in medical billing. So let's see what kind of things do we have in today's lecture. First of all, overview of medical billing, like what is the definition and what is the purpose of medical billing. Okay, so we need to understand the definition, like what is the basic definition of medical billing and what is the purpose of medical billing, why we are just going to do this medical billing. So these questions arises. We have a USA healthcare system that is very quite complex one. Okay, so we need to understand these two terms, like what is a definition and what is the purpose of medical billing. So in medical billing, you guys can see that it is a process by which healthcare providers submit the claims to an insurance companies, okay, or government payers like Medicare, Medicaid, to receive payments for the services rendered to the patients. So simple, one kind of a step. Like here are different key players in this one, like the patient, provider means the doctor one, okay, insurance companies are the payers, okay, and the medical billers. We are working on behalf of medical providers. We are going to submit the claims to insurance companies, okay, and we are also going to following up on all those kind of claims which were submitted to insurance companies. So what is medical billing? It is a process in which the medical provider, basically the medical billing staff on behalf of that provider, is going to submit the claims to insurance companies, okay, to get the reimbursements or to get the payments for the services that were basically rendered by that kind of a specific provider to that kind of a patient. Okay, if there's a patient and who is going to get any kind of a services from a provider, then the provider is going to submit a claim to an insurance company, okay, to get the reimbursement for the services which were done by him to that kind of a provider. So in this way, this complete kind of a like circle where we just follow up different kind of things, are where we have different kind of a process flow, and we are just going to call that one kind of a stuff is RCM, or revenue cycle management. So it involves converting healthcare services and procedures into standardized billing codes and submitting these codes into the form of claims to insurance companies for the reimbursements. Yes, you guys know that we are going to diagnose different kind of like the provider is going to diagnose different kind of things in the patient. Like if the patient is going to suffer from any kind of a disease, then basically these diseases are going to be converted into specific codes which are included in the claims. Okay, so these codes are going to be included in the claim as an ICD, International Classification of Diseases. On the other hand, if the provider is going to treat that kind of a specific patient to cure that kind of a disease, then these procedures which are going to be taken by that kind of a specific provider, these procedures are going to be called as current procedural terminologies are CPT. Okay, so these ICDs and CPTs, both of these are going to be included into the specific claims. Okay, so these claims are going to be then sent to the different insurance companies. Okay, if the patient is having a Medicare, Medicaid, or any other commercial or private payers, then insurance company is going to submit that claim to an insurance company. So in this way, we are just going to understand the medical billing. So it's a process in which a provider is going to provide different kind of a services to that kind of a specific patient. Then the provider on behalf, basically the medical billing staff on behalf of that provider is going to make a claim, and they are going to submit that claim to an insurance company to get the reimbursements, to get the payments. Okay, so this is basically a medical billing. So this was the basically a definition and complete like overview of medical billing. So let's see what are the different processes are basically the purposes of medical billing. So purpose of medical billing is going to be the like why we are basically doing the medical billing. We are basically doing medical billing for ensuring financial stability for healthcare providers. Yes, in this way, like we are just going to submit the claims, insurance is going to pay for the services, okay, and the patient is also going to pay the like insurance companies because they are going to get the benefits from that kind of a specific insurance. And also insurance companies are going to pay to the providers because they are going to render different kind of services to the patients. So in this way there is a financial stability for the specific providers because they are going to render different kind of services to patients. So they are just going to get all those kind of reimbursements or the payments from insurance companies. Next is accuracy and compliance. Yes, everything is going to be accurate one. Like we need to add all the codes in an accurate way. We need to add the patient's information in an accurate way. We need to be compliant with the HIPAA compliance, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. We need to follow all the rules and regulations, all the guidelines. Okay, so in this way, we are just going to make everything accurate. Okay, so everything, every kind of aspect needs to be correct one, so we can just get the reimbursements. Streamlining the payment process. Yes, in this way we can just be medical billing like is going to help us help not only the providers but also the insurance companies to work in a smooth process. They are going to Insurance companies are going to pay for the services which were basically rendered by the healthcare provider. Also they can deny different kind of services which don't comes under the members benefit plan. So we can also receive the payments. We can also follow the different rules and regulations and guidelines as well. Reducing financial burden on patients. Yes, insurance companies are going to take care of the medical expenses, so in this way they can just reduce the burden on the directly on the patients. Okay, and the provider can get the reimbursements or the fee and the services, okay, so they can just get these kind of services or the reimbursements from the insurance company. Improving healthcare accessibility. Yes, in this way every patient can get the accessibility to get different kind of providers, specialists, hospitals. So in this way they can just get these kind of services from different providers. Preventing and detecting fraud. Yes, medical billing can help in preventing and detecting frauds as well. Like there are auditing teams who can just audit different kind of like medical billing companies. They can just find out if they are just doing any kind of phishing, they are just going to do any kind of upcoding, mismatching, unbundling, bundling. So these kind of things can be avoided. Okay, so medical billing is going to secure all that kind of stuff. So these are the basic purposes of medical billing. Okay, so now we are just going to move to the overview of medical billing, like what are the different departments, how basically medical billing start. Okay, so like first, what is the first step, second step, third step, fourth, fifth, and seventh? So what are the basic and primary steps of medical billing? So let's see, and let's go with the first one. So the medical billing process flow. The first one is patient registration. So what we are going to do if a patient is going to set an appointment and they are just going to visit a doctor. So on the reception or the registration staff is going to register that specific patient. They are just going to get the patient's information, like they are just going to get the patient's name, date of birth, insurance name, like what is the insurance name. Okay, so the patient does have. Okay, and what is the insurance ID? Okay, and if the patient is going to have the insurance ID card, they can just capture the information from that kind of a specific card as well. Okay, so they are just going to add all that kind of information in there directly in their EHR or EMR, or they can also manually add that kind of information on the registration form as well. So the first step is going to be capture the patient's personal or the basic information, because this is quite important. We need to add all that kind of information into our claims. So when the medical billing staff is going to make the claim, they just need to add all that kind of a specific information into that kind of a specific claim. So the first step is going to be the patient registration one. Next we have insurance verification. Like as I've already said in our previous slide, that we are just going to capture the patient's insurance information as well. Then we are going to verify the patient's eligibility. like we are going to verify if the patient is active with that kind of an insurance company, like if the patient is going to have Medicare, Medicaid, or any other, you can say that the private insurance companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield. Then we need to find out like if the patient is active with that kind of a specific insurance or not. Because if the patient is active, then insurance company will pay for the services. But if the patient is not active, then insurance company is going to deny that claim that this patient is not or no more active with us. Then why should pay you guys? So simply, we need to verify the eligibility of that patient before submitting the claim to an insurance company. If the patient is found eligible, then we can submit the claim. If the patient is not found eligible, then we need to let the patient know that you are not eligible with this kind of insurance company. If you have another company with which you are active, then you can provide the information. Otherwise, we are going to send you the bills. Okay, so in this way, we need to verify on the date of services. Like when the patient is going to get the services from that kind of a specific provider, we need to verify the patient eligibility on that specific date of service. So this is basically called as the insurance verification. Okay, after the registration, we need to just go for the patient's insurance verification. So let's see what is the third one. That is the charge entry. Okay, so in that charge entry, we are going to add the different patients information. Like we are just going to add the patient information, charge information. Let me zoom in this one a little bit so you guys can just better understand. Okay, so this is the charge entry process. Patient inquiry. If the patient is found, like if the patient is eligible, then key the following whenever applicable. So we are just going to add different kind of information into a claim, into our medical billing softwares. We are going to add the date of service. We are going to add the provider information, like who is the rendering provider, referring provider, and all that information. We are going to add the place of service, like where the services were rendered. It's an office, it's an like laboratory services, it's a hospital services. So what is the place where the services were rendered? So we need to add that kind of information. What is the facility name, referring provider information, CPD codes, okay, units, what were the like, how much units for that kind of a specific procedures were done, what were the modifiers, diagnosis codes. So we will understand these kind of steps or these kind of things in a much more elaboration or in a much more detail in our upcoming lectures. So we will be just adding all that kind of information, billing the insurance agency or the patient whenever applicable. So we will be adding all that kind of information into our claim. But if the patient is not found, okay, then we will follow up with the client asking details rescan. So we need to verify that with which kind of insurance company the member is eligible or member is active. So in this way, we need to add all that kind of stuff into our claim, and we need to verify like how we are just going to make these charges. So this is the third step, which is going to be the charge entry. We need to add the CPT codes, ICD codes, place of services, date of services, provided information, and all that kind of stuff into your medical billing software to submit the claim to an insurance company. The fourth one is going to be the medical billing process flow that comes with the claim submission, and the fifth one is claim adjudication. Claim submission means if we have just done and if we have added all that kind of a specific information into our medical billing software, okay, then if everything is good, then we are going to submit that claim to insurance company. We can submit the claim electronically because we have different electronic pair IDs, okay, of the insurance companies. We can simply submit our claims through different kind of softwares which are being used in medical billing. So we can submit the claims to an insurance company with those kind of electronic pair IDs. We can also mail the claims as well manually. Okay, so we can just send the claims via mailing, via electronic pair IDs as well, mostly. And most of the insurance companies are going to accept these claims via electronic pair IDs. We have carrier pair IDs. So once the claim is submitted, then insurance company is going to adjudicate that claim. What does the adjudicate means? Process, review that claim. So insurance company is going to review that claim, process that claim. They will see that if everything is good or accurate in that kind of a claim, if the claim is clean. Clean claims means if there are no errors. If the dirty, that comes with the patient, the claim is going to have a little bit errors, or if there is a like wrong information which is added. Maybe it could be a coding issue, maybe it could be a patient's information issue. So any other issue which is arising in that kind of a claim, then insurance company is not going to process that claim, or maybe they can deny that claim. Okay, so what is the first step over here? We can see that the claim submission, so means insurance company is going to receive a claim from that kind of a specific provider. Okay, so medical billing staff is going to submit a claim to an insurance company. Next is claim scrubbing. So insurance company is going to scrub that claim basically. So insurance company basically not, basically medical provider is going to use different kind of a softwares. Our medical billing staff is going to use different kind of a softwares. Basically, these are the clearing houses. So these clearing houses have the function to scrub that claim. So means they need to verify like every information in that kind of a specific claim is correct or not. So if the claim is going to have any kind of a issues or errors, okay, so any kind of a thing that looks fishy or not accurate, then that clearing house, okay, that's basically a bridge that is going to send back that claim to the provider again, that they are not going to submit the claim to an insurance company when we are just going to submit the claim directly or via electronic payer ID. So these softwares, these basically clearing houses are going to send back that claim to insurance, basically to the provider, that you guys need to fix this kind of a issue. Then you guys can again submit the claim. So next is claim routing. If the claim is like good, there is no issue, then claim will be routed to the insurance company. Claim status updates and reporting. So we will get the reports as well, that we will find out the claim status is that if the claim is processed and insurance has accepted that claim. Then peer review and adjudication. Peer is going to, like, peer means insurance company is going to review that claim and adjudicate that claim. They will process that claim, and if everything is goes fine, then we will be just getting the reimbursements, means we will be getting the payments from that kind of insurance company. So in this way, this complete our whole cycle is just going to move. So the fifth one was adjudication. Insurance company is going to adjudicate that claim and we are going to get the reimbursements. Okay, so this is the sample of our HCPA 1500 form, CMS 1500 form, where we can just see that we have different kind of information. So this form is basically going to have basically two sections, as we can see over here. So the first one is going to be the patient's information section. Okay, here we can see that the patient name, patient address, city, state, zip code. Okay, and we can see that if the patient relationship to the insured is self, spouse, child. Okay, we can see the patient date of birth, what is the gender of that patient, insurance name, insurance address, city, state, zip code, insurance number. Okay, so all that kind of information which is related to that kind of a specific patient, we can just see over here. And down below we can see that we have two other section where we have the provider information and also the different kind of a charges information as well. Okay, so name of the referring provider. Okay, rendering, who is the rendering provider? We can see that the diagnosis codes over here, like diagnosis are nature of illness, so we can just add the diagnosis codes over here. We can just have the date of service, place of service, so like what is the place of service, what are the different procedures, are the services which were rendered to that kind of a specific patient to cure these diseases. Okay, so what are the fee of that kind of a charges? Okay, what are the units? And we can just add the NPI, national provider identifier, over here, like rendering provider NPI. And down below we can see that here is a national tax identification number as well. We can just add that one over to you. Here we have the signatures, service facility location information, billing provider information, total charge, amount paid, so all that kind of a stuff. So in this way, when we are just going to add the different kind of a stuff in our medical billing software, then that kind of a software is going to capture all that kind of information, and they are just going to convert that kind of all information into this form. An insurance company is going to receive the claim in this form. Okay, so this is the basically a CMS 1500 form. Okay, health insurance claim form. So this claim will be received by insurance company, and insurance company will submit, basically adjudicate that claim or process that claim and pay for the services. Next, we have medical billing process flow, in which next point is payment posting. Yes, once everything is good, insurance has paid the claim, like we are just going to receive the ERA, electronic remittance advice, or we are going to get the basically EOB, explanation of benefits, in which insurance is going to let us know that how they have processed the claim, what is the patient responsibility, how much they have paid, what are the total billed amount, and we have also going to get the patient's information as well. Okay, so then we just receive that kind of a EOB from insurance company. Basically, the EOB is going to be received by both the patient and the provider as well, but the ERA is going to be only received by the medical provider. Okay, so we will receive that kind of a EOB or ERA from the insurance company, and we will post that one. If everything goes well, like insurance company has paid the claim, okay, then we will just post that kind of a payment into our medical billing software. And if there is a patient responsibility as a co-insurance, co-pay, deductibles, then we can just simply send that kind of a pending payment to that kind of a patient. okay, as a patient statement or patient bill. So the patient is going to receive that kind of a bill at their home address or via email, and then they will just call us back and provide a different kind of information of their credit cards or debit cards, and we can just post that kind of a payment into our medical billing softwares. So in this way, we are just going to post the payment. So this is a separate department who is going to be responsible for payment posting. Next, as I already mentioned, if everything goes well, insurance paid the part, and they have made a patient responsibility as well, then we can just send the patient statements to the specific patients. So if there were different kind of follow-up exam and hospital stays, so these were the two services which were rendered by the healthcare provider, and the amount that was billed, that was $200, insurance paid $190, and $10 is left as a patient responsibility. $10 here, we have $10 over here, and for the next service we can see that $10.09 also, this is also a patient responsibility. And there is a third services as well, which was going to only for $5 to that kind of a patient. So total becomes $10, 10.09, and $5, so $25.09 is the patient responsibility. Okay, so this is just an example for your understanding, that you can understand that in this way the patient is going to receive different kind of a bill from the insurance company. Okay, not from the insurance company, basically from the provider, because insurance company is going to process that claim. Okay, that they will just process, like if there are payments, like we can just see that over here for the first service, the total amount that was billed is $200. Insurance company paid $190, then $10 is left. So patient is responsible for these $10, 10.09, and $5 as well. So the patient will receive the bill of $25.09, and they need to pay this one. So in this way, the providers or the medical billing staff is going to generate different kind of a payments statements. So this is the revenue cycle management. This is a revenue cycle where we have different kind of steps which we need to follow, or which we need to go through. The first, you can see that the appointment scheduling, the patient is going to schedule an appointment. Then the patient is going to visit that doctor. We have a patient registration, eligibility and benefits verification, like the patient is active on date of service or not, and the patient is going to have that kind of a benefit under their members benefit plan or not. Utilization review, we are going to review all that kind of stuff. Referral and authorizations, there are a few services which require referrals and authorizations. We also need to get those kind of authorizations. We will discuss all that kind of stuff in detail in our upcoming lectures. So this is just an overview regarding medical billing, like what is medical billing and what are the different processes in medical billing. Next, we have describing changes. If there is any change, we can just see over that. Coding and billing, we can just find out different kind of codes over there. Charge posting, we can just add those kind of ICDs, CPD codes into that kind of a claim submission. Okay, submitting claims, we can just submit that kind of a claim. Clearinghouse denials, if there is a denial from clearinghouse, that if there is a problem with that kind of a claim, if the patient is going to have, patient's name is incorrect, patient ID is incorrect, then we can just receive that kind of a specific claim back to our medical billing. Next, we have payment posting. We can just simply post the payments. Denial management, secondary filing. If there is a secondary insurance of that kind of patient, then we can submit that secondary claim to insurance company. Accounts receivable, appeal procedure, patient billing, and collections. So in this way, we can just get through all these kind of steps. So this was all about our today's lecture. If you guys have any kind of questions regarding today's lecture, our first lecture, then you guys can let me know. I will get back to you as soon as possible. So this was all about today's first lecture. We will just continue this lecture, like we are just going to continue this course, and I will be just uploading our next lecture in next week. Okay, so if you guys have any questions regarding today's lecture, if you have any query in your mind, if you have any question in your mind, then you guys can just let me know. So thank you so much once again watching my YouTube channel. If you are interested to learn more medical billing lectures, then you guys can just subscribe this one. So once again, thank you so much for your attention. Take care of yourself and your family, and do remember me on your kind prayers. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Goodbye.